Welcome back to another episode 3 of Light and Hunch. We have the GOAT ZZ Hunch Show and the man that doesn't miss, myself, Light Out Sports. Before we even introduce our guest for this week, I gotta say a couple thanks. The only man that is more unstoppable right now than Russell Westbrook is my hairline receding. Because this man has been playing. This month, he has averaged 26 points, 16 rebounds, and 15 assists. Can you name someone right now that is putting that up? Can you name someone right now that could do that?
No.
No.
This man is a freaking demigod.
Dude, that guy has not. It's ridiculous that we're even saying that. It's crazy, and people say that he's a stat pattern. I want your favorite player to do what Russell Westbrook does, if he's such a stat pattern, because it makes me so mad. But anyways, before we even continue, I want to introduce our two guests from the Setback podcast. The first person we're going to introduce is the man that apparently has a 44-inch vertical, has never missed a shot in a basketball game. His name is Alex Lewis, a.k.a. King Lewis. What's up, King Lewis? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah. We're doing good, bro. I'm excited. And then the next guest we got is actually Mark Cuban gave him the keys to the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic actually calls him in the daily basis. His name is the NBA Facts. Caleb, how you doing, bro?
Yo, I'm doing great. About to trade Chris Dobson this offseason, but working out the kinks there.
Bro, the Dallas Mavericks, although we make fun of this man, Kristaps Porzingis, the man, he's not that bad. Like, I've been watching him. He's not atrocious. Like, I've seen people. I've seen worse power forwards in the league that is not Kristaps.
The man can hoop when his knees are working.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I gotta say. But the first topic of the day that I want to talk about. Oh yeah, King Lewis, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of people saying Davis Bertans is better than Kristaps right now. I think that's a bit of a hot take. I'm not sure if I agree with
Latvian
that.
laser?
No, that's definitely a super hot take. It's so hot that they just shut up. Like, that was such a it was, oh my god, that's such a horrible take. But anyways, Yep.
The title says we're featuring Super Kurt. Just saying. Don't know how we can change that. But I saw it. I clicked. I went to YouTube and saw it. But that's
what about now? All right, cool. I just updated it. Hopefully it works. If not, people are going to think Super Kurt's in the video. Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyways, I want to talk about this. We talked about this in the Step Back podcast when I was their guest. We talked about James Harden being the best player in Brooklyn. Now, I know we're actually 50-50 on this.
Yep.
We're literally 50-50 on this. I'm pretty sure that ZZ and NBA Facts are leaning with KD being the best player. Me and King Lewis are leaning with James Harden being the best player. But I want the NBA Facts to,
It's James Harden.
Just go out and let me know why he thinks Kevin Durant is the best player in Brooklyn. So go ahead, NBA Facts.
If you need a bucket, you're going to Kevin Durant. You can guard James Harden. You can't guard Kevin Durant.
Did Giannis not block KD's shot?
One guy in NBA history has blocked Kevin Durant's shot, and he's the weak freak.
But who is more valuable? Who is more valuable, James Harden or Kevin Durant?
Well, this season, Harden, because of games played.
Okay, I know I'm triggering Z right now, so Z, say something.
Because Light Out texted me this, and I was like, the best player is Kevin Durant. The most valuable player is James Harden. But the reason I say that is because when the Big Three was assembled, we were like, who's going to be the third option? I should have known that Kyrie wasn't going to just sacrifice his shots, because Kyrie Irving isn't the type of player to sacrifice his shots. Does that make him selfish? Kind of, but it works. It works. It works for Kyrie. Kyrie is a scoring point guard, not a playmaking point guard necessarily, which is nothing wrong with that. It leads to success, Yeah. And KD is also not one to sacrifice his shots unless you count Golden State. Because when he was in Golden State, he was the clear-cut best player. But the most valuable player was Steph Curry because Steph Curry sacrificed his shots for the benefit of that team. James Harden sacrificed his shots for the benefit of the team, and we saw he was getting like 30 and like 11 assists for a stretch of games because that's how James Harden works. He's a selfless player.
No, and I understand that. King Lewis, go ahead.
Hot take. KD hasn't been the best player on his team since he left OKC.
Yo, that's hot. That's super hot.
But Ryan, if you need a bucket in the playoffs, are you giving the ball to Harden or are you giving the ball to KD?
No, KD. No, KD's obviously no. And who's the better scorer? Kevin Durant, obviously. But who's the better player? Now let me explain something. This is the argument that I'm hearing from a lot of people, and then I'm gonna let King Lewis talk about why James Harden's better and all that stuff. But I want to say this. The argument that I'm hearing is that, okay, Draymond Green is the most valuable player in the Golden State Warriors, but Steph Curry is the clear-cut best player in the Golden State Warriors. That's what they're saying. Ben Simmons is also a very valuable asset for the Philadelphia 76ers, but obviously Joel Embiid is the best player. Now, you look at Draymond Green and Ben Simmons, and then we have James Harden. They all do everything, right, when it comes to facilitating the offense, orchestrating the offense, making sure everything is running. But the difference between Ben Simmons, Draymond Green, and James Harden is that although Kevin Durant is considered one of the greatest scorers of all time, James Harden is also in that conversation. Not only can James Harden drop 50 points whenever he wants, not only can James Harden pass the ball whenever he wants, not only is he leading his team in rebounds as a shooting guard, let's get that right. He's leading his team in rebounds as a shooting guard. He is leading his team in assists as a shooting guard. He is obviously the most valuable, and then he brings so much impact to the team because the last 4 losses that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving has had was because they didn't have a leader to someone to orchestrate the offense. They've tried to do ISO against the Milwaukee Bucks, against the other 2 teams that I forgot that I don't remember. They can't ISO and expect them to win a basketball game. James Harden brings that element that they're missing. So that's why I believe James Harden is the best player in Brooklyn, because although he is facilitating the ball like Draymond Green and Ben Simmons, there's no stopping James Harden when he gets hot as well. So that's my reason on why James Harden is the best. King Lewis, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, without James Harden, they're not making it out the East. James Harden's the most valuable player on that team. He does everything for them. They can't function well without him. He's the one that runs the offense. DeAndre Jordan's production goes so much better with James Harden on the floor. Same thing with Claxton. All their big men, they all need James Harden. So I agree with you. The ISO point, Kyrie and KD, they need to work on their facilitating if they want to get far without James.
Yep. And I'm going to give credit to KD, though, because KD did have 7 assists against Denver. But besides that, I mean, come on now. I don't think Kevin Durant is the best player in Brooklyn. I'm sorry. And it's not going to change until Kevin Durant proves me otherwise. He hasn't proven anything.
I think we have to look at it. From a perspective of because NBA terminology, it's always a thing where it's like, what does it mean to certain people, right? Like we're about to get into super teams, right? That should be fun. When you look at MVP, the MVP award itself means something different to everybody else because people think that, the MVP award is supposed to go to someone who had a better playoff run than someone else, but that other person also didn't have the amount of wins in the regular season. It's stuff like that. The terminology is different. So when I look at the MVP of the team, there is no doubt in my mind it's James Harden. But like you put James Harden against Kevin, like what do you mean best player? Do you mean best for best for the team? That means most valuable. That goes to James Harden. But like NBA Facts said, if I need a bucket late in a game, there's no one else out of the big 3 that it's going to than that 7-foot snake.
Kevin, maybe nobody else in the league.
Kyrie.
I mean, I like the whole, because as a talent, obviously Kevin Durant is more talented than James Harden. But when I look at, I guess my terminology, like you said, is a lot different. Because the reason I believe LeBron James was the best player in the league for about 10 years was because he could do everything. I mean, he could rebound the ball. He could defend every position. He could he could drop 50 if he wants to. Like that's LeBron James. And what LeBron was doing, James Harden is doing for Brooklyn. So for that, and so I'm just keeping the same energy, like the same energy we have for LeBron James. I'm gonna put it right here with the Brooklyn Nets as well, because he's doing everything. And he's an underrated defender as well in the perimeter. Like he's been playing pretty good defense as well. So I mean, yeah, I understand that Kevin Durant is more talented. Does that make him the best player? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. No, because the lack of talent that this man has compared to James Harden is doing more. I mean, 14-7 with James Harden in the floor, and then with Kevin Durant and Kyrie only, they are what, like 9-8 or something like that, or they lost like their last. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say from that.
Let me ask you this question, right? Let me ask all three of y'all the question. You got Harden, you got KD, you got Kyrie. Which you fear more in any given playoff series?
Harden.
Which player do you fear more, and why?
Kevin Durant.
Who you saying, BFX?
Kevin Durant.
Honestly, I'm gonna go
Fear in the playoffs
with the last shot.
Just in the whole series.
In the series, Kevin Durant.
I'm gonna go Harden.
Yeah, same here. I'm going Harden.
Kevin Durant's a two-time Finals MVP.
I'm going Harden.
Harden is as good of a scorer, and he also the gravity everyone focuses on him during the game. Everyone's looking at Harden when he has the ball. If KD
KD's gravity is just as evident.
But
when you have Paul George and Patrick Beverly jumping on you for the last shot, you know you're a good player, and you know you're better than Kevin Durant.
Okay, but also,
he froze.
The last few.
Yo, this is Ultron's back, baby. Yo, Zig, we can't hear you, bro. Leave the chat and come back if you can. Anyways, let me explain what my logic to what Z said, right? He said, who do I fear more, Kevin Durant or James Harden? I'm gonna go James Harden, because that not only is Kevin, like, I understand Kevin Durant as a last shot, I fear more Kevin Durant than James Harden. I agree, but like King Lewis said, yes, Kevin Durant is a better scorer, but let's not act that James Harden is not there with him. Like with all that, right? With all Kevin Durant, here, let me bring Z back in.
I'm back.
Yo, Z, what's up? Okay, cool. Let me rephrase what I said. So to answer your question, Z, I said that I fear James Harden more, right? And I'm gonna go with the point that King Lewis said. King Lewis said, and I'm agreeing as well, that Kevin Durant is obviously the better scorer. But when we look at James Harden, he is not that far from Kevin Durant. Not only that, James Harden can get 10 assists and 10 rebounds in one game as well, facilitate the whole offense. If I'm gonna be scared of someone for the whole game, I'm more scared of James Harden than I am with Kevin Durant. But if we're talking about the last shot, I fear Kevin Durant 100% more than James Harden. So that's my answer to that.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying with like playmaking and stuff, but it's easier to shut down a guy like Harden for a series than Kevin Durant with one defender.
Yeah, look at
Kevin Durant. You can't shut down for a series with one defender.
Look at the Clippers series from a few years back, 2019 playoffs, right? Durant has two bad games and everybody's blaming it on Patrick Beverly getting into his head. He had 23 and 21. Then Kevin Durant goes into the interview and says, well, I'm Kevin Durant, so I'm going to be fine. Next game, he goes out to 38, he calls it up with 33, then 45, and then 50 to close them out. And then Patrick Beverly and Lou Williams were like, well, what were you guys doing? Were you doing everything you can? And they said, we literally tried everything we could and just couldn't stop them. And I was like, yeah. And then you look at the next, like, the Houston series. The Houston series, KD goes down. KD had 35 in game 1, 20 in game 2, 46 in game 3, 34 in game 4. Then he goes down with 22 in game 5. When he came back in the finals before he got hurt, you remember everybody was flipping like they were losing it. He had 11 points in like a quarter almost, and he had just came back, and then he had gotten hurt again. He was like shooting. I think he didn't even miss a shot before he went down, honestly. But he was doing really, really well. So I would fear Kevin Durant more. James Harden hasn't had a defining series like a Kevin Durant in 2017 or in 20. So Kevin Durant. I mean, Harden just hasn't had a defining series like a Kevin Durant or. And it's not. I mean, I don't really know. You know.
Let me add that. Let me add to that. All right, NBA facts and ZZ. I wanna explain something to you. Yes, James Harden has never had that, right? Never had that defining factor in the playoffs like Kevin Durant. But when was the last time Kevin Durant had two teammates like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant? When was the last time that James Harden had two teammates like Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green? Like what? Look at the supporting cast now, okay? Because although Kevin Durant had an excellent game against the Clippers, when he was in OKC, let's not forget, in 2016 that we talked about in that last podcast, this man was not that hard to make sure that he not shut down, but they contained Kevin Durant. I mean, they contained Kevin.
I agree, but
yeah, keep going, Z. Keep going.
I agree exactly what you're saying, but this is why I made the video like a few weeks ago. I said, okay, y'all talked about 2018 and how if the Rockets had Chris Paul, they beat the Warriors and go on to the finals in 2018, right? The Rockets, the best record in the entire NBA in 2018. Like they had 60 wins. The Warriors didn't even have 60 wins that year. So I asked you, I said, okay, if Chris Paul is that much of an important factor, which he is, Harden had Chris Paul, right? Or he didn't have him in that final game. So do you think that if James Harden has Chris Paul, they beat that Kevin Durant and Curry and Klay and that Warrior squad? If he has someone, because he had a Chris Paul and he had 65 wins and the best record in basketball. So he's had good players around him. He's had good supporting cast. All James Harden has ever really needed is honestly a point guard, a good point guard. Like him and Dwight failed because it wasn't Harden's fault at all that him and Dwight failed. It was specifically Dwight Howard was still living in 2009. So it wasn't Harden's fault. He gets Chris Paul. We've talked about how good Chris Paul is, right? He gets Chris Paul. Chris Paul helped Harden in such a huge way in those couple of years that he was there. And it's a big difference. Like James Harden has Chris Paul. He has the best record in basketball. He gets Russell Westbrook. Granted, he ran into the Lakers, but Russell Westbrook didn't help that squad or help Harden like Chris Paul did. So I ask you, he had Chris Paul, best record in basketball. Do you think he's going to beat that Warrior squad if he has Chris Paul in Game 7?
That's a good question because that's a hypothetical. And if I hypothetically speaking, Chris Paul never got injured. I mean, the Houston Rockets did have their number. We gotta see, because not only did the Rockets have the worst shooting performance in NBA history that game, we gotta see that if even with Chris Paul, are they still gonna be shooting as bad as they were in that game? Now, with that logic, adding Chris Paul, they only lost by like 6 points or something like that. How much did they lose? Yeah, like 6-5.
They missed 27. The Warriors literally, the Rockets. I went back and watched that game. The Rockets were destroying them at first, and then in the second half, that's when they started missing 27 straight threes. Like they were up big. Like they were like Harden was doing his thing with Capella, but at the end, the Warriors caught a break by the fact that they just choked terribly.
Yeah. So then in that case, I'm gonna go and say Chris Paul and the Rockets would have beat the Warriors that year. Definitely.
So then this changes that narrative that James Harden has never had certain players around him to help elevate him, right? Harden was a part of those 27 misses, right? So once again, when I looked at other NBA analysts that have talked about certain players having bad in the playoffs, Max Kellerman tried to say that Harden has been better in the playoffs than Steph, and I'm like, that's completely just not true at all. Because when Harden has been tested, he hasn't really shown up the way that he needs to show up. Because, like you said, if there was one team in the West after Kevin Durant left OKC that could test the Warriors, it was the Rockets. For some reason, I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. It was that combination of CP3 and Harden, but they could test the Warriors. And then so everybody's like, okay, CP3 goes down 2018. The next year, Kevin Durant goes down. And then it's like, oh, the Warriors are going to lose without Kevin Durant. Then Steph does what Steph does. Yeah. And then it's like, and I saw this article. It was like, there's no more excuses for James Harden. He had it right there. His team was healthy. They took down the Warriors' best player, and then out of nowhere, Steph emerges. So I'm like, Harden has run out of excuses in the playoffs, but you put Kevin Durant there. Kevin Durant's
an X factor, obviously. Mm-hmm. I mean, NBA facts. I feel like we've been talking way too much.
No, you're good.
Okay, what do you have to say anything about this?
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's like it's a close call, obviously. Mm-hmm. And both these guys are top 5 right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm saying.
So it's kind of an odd argument, but I mean, I'm still leaning with KD. ZZ said it well. So
yeah. The only thing that I gotta say about to wrap it up and continue with the next conversation. The only thing I gotta say about this is that Kevin Durant's an X factor. Now, this is obviously Kevin Durant is James Harden's best teammate he has ever had. In my opinion, right? I mean, we're talking about KD. We're talking about KD. But when I look at James Harden, right? That with all that, James Harden with a bad team, I think it was with Dwight Howard. When he first joined, he still led that team to the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors. Like I understand what you're saying, but let's not act like James Harden can't do it himself. And now you add James Harden and give him 2 elite players with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and he is running the show. Like no one else is running the show but James Harden. James Harden is running the show. Let's not forget that he has the record for most 30 points games in NBA history. He's a bucket as well. So the thing that Harden is lacking on KD, he is not that far off. So when I also look at the more all-around player, I give it to James Harden as well. So that is my final argument with that. Anyone want to add anything? Because I'm going to move on to the next topic. We're good? All right, cool. Now I got a lot of heat on TikTok, guys. A lot of heat.
All right.
I am a man that wants all the smoke. Unfortunately, King Lewis is not here right now, but hopefully he'll join back. But it started with King Lewis, and let me see. He just texted me. Okay, cool. It started with King Lewis, and he said that the 2016 Warriors were a super team. It doesn't matter if they were drafted or bought, it's still the same thing. And I got triggered, okay? So I said, you're crazy, you're wrong. The 2016 Warriors are not a super team. They were just a great team that drafted well. Now, the question before I answer my logic, I want to know about the NBA facts. NBA facts, what do you consider a super team? What's a super team to you? And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think I saw the video that Alex made that you're talking about. Uh-huh. About building or drafting super teams. Yeah. In my mind, usually super teams are like built through trades and signing players, like in big markets. Like Miami had one, arguably. Yep. Maybe LA. Yeah. But I don't see the 20. You said 2016 Warriors.
2016 before
like Steph, Clay, Draymond.
Yeah, before KD.
No, not a super team in my opinion. Who was an All-Star that year for them? Just Clay and Steph, or was Draymond that year?
I think Draymond was also. Let me see. I'll search it up. I'll fact check it right now. I think 2016 Warriors All-Stars. Let's see. I believe.
Yeah,
Draymond. All-Stars. All 3 were All-Stars. Yeah.
I still don't see that as super team because they were all drafted by the Warriors. So that team isn't. When KD came there, yes, super team because they brought him in. Mm-hmm. But before that, no.
I agree 100% with NBA facts. I don't care. Like, this is how I look at it. I don't care if we started a draft class today and I, as an owner, draft LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant, but I drafted them without knowing their ceilings, right? And they end up being the players that we all know they could be. For me, that is not a super team because all of them did not have the option to play with each other. And a lot of people that that want to counter argue that is, okay, if they did not have the option to not play with each other, why didn't they leave during free agency? So let me explain why they didn't leave. Because the team was doing good. Why do you want to leave a team that is doing good? That doesn't make sense to me. And I know I'm calling out Super Kurt because he made a video on me, and I'm also calling out Calvin because he made a video on me. Respectfully, okay? I think they're wrong with their logic. They say that it doesn't matter how you have it, and King Lewis as well. I'm calling him out as well. I don't care if you have three All-Stars on your team. It depends how you do it. Because remember, the Paul Pierce in the Celtics, the reason they were considered a super team is because they traded for Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. The Miami Heat, they signed Chris Bosh and LeBron James. Now in Brooklyn, they traded for James Harden. So yeah, that's I think a super team is a team that is either when either one or two superstars join via trade or free agency to join another one or two superstars in another team. So that is my logic of a super team. Z, what do you think?
I think that I agree with Light Out. I definitely agree with Light Out. I don't think 2016 Warriors were a super team at all. I think that some people can't figure out the difference between a super team and a dynasty because at the end of the day, the difference between the two is how much success you have. So take the Heat, for example. The Heat were considered a super team. Like Light Out said, I agree. You test free agency. People don't remember this, but Dwayne Wade and LeBron James were actually thinking about joining 22-year-old Derrick Rose in Chicago. Yeah. Now imagine that team put together, right?
They had meetings in Chicago.
That would be hilarious. That would be impactful, wonderful. But when you look at the Miami Heat success rate, they won 2 championships out of 4 years, right? You look at the Warriors, they won 2 championships out of 3 years, and the last year they lost because of injury. There was never they never played bad, they never got upset, none of that ever happened. So when I look at the 2016 Warriors, they were on pace to be a dynasty with Steph, Clay, and Dre. The Bulls in the 90s, dynasty, because if you look at it, people literally talk about how Jordan, Rodman, and Pippen, they talk about them as if they played all 6 championships. No, it was the only 3 people that you can look back on and say were legitimate, important, impactful factors in the Bulls winning 6 titles are Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and their coach, Phil Jackson. And then the front office. That's where you go. Because nobody ever talks about it. He's back. He's back. Keep going. No one ever talks about. Is he still going?
Yeah, you're good.
Am I good? Okay. So no one ever talks about Horace Grant, right? So the Bulls had a dynasty. They signed a Dennis Rodman that nobody in the league wanted. Literally, Phil Jackson said, "You want to play with the Bulls?" He said, "I don't care." Boom. They just needed 1 rebounder. That's all they needed. The Warriors were on pace to have a dynasty. They signed Kevin Durant. That's definitely a super team now. But it's a dynasty that turned into a super team that turned into a super team / dynasty in the end. Yeah. Because they went to 5 straight finals, right? But the constants that they had, the Splash Brothers and Dre, 3 people that they drafted. So I don't think that – I think when people – like when I saw Kurt's video and, no matter how you look at it, if they're drafted and they're good, they're a super team. But then he also said, and I give him credit, he was like, that doesn't mean that super team is looked at as a derogatory term, but at the same time, you looked at the Boston Celtics, right? Kevin Garnett and Ray did not say trade me to the Celtics. They didn't say that. But consistently, they got traded to the Celtics, right? So when you test free agency, I think, and somebody said this, I might have been an analyst, but he said LeBron James opened the floodgates for free agents to test for superstars to test free agency. So the Celtics and LeBron situation are not the same thing. But LeBron opened the floodgates for superstars to be able to test free agency, which isn't a bad thing because they had success with it and the context around it. So that's what I think a super team is essentially.
And it makes perfect sense. King Lewis, thank you, the man that I wanted for this conversation. Now, I want to know what's your definition. We already got our definitions of the super team. What the 2016 Warriors? Why are they a super team? I want to know.
Because they had an MVP caliber player and 2 solid
they drafted.
It doesn't matter if they drafted them or not. It does not matter. It does not matter whatsoever. They had an MVP caliber player and 2 other All-Stars. For me, that's a super team.
Let me explain something to you. Now, let me explain something to you. Okay. In NBA history, besides the Warriors, when we start looking about the greatest super teams of all time, right? When was the last time they were all drafted?
They weren't really. None.
Yeah. Now this is the thing, because when we start looking at the greatest super teams of all time, we start looking at LeBron James in Miami. How did that happen? Via signing, via free agency. The Boston Celtics, via signing, via it was actually via free agency completely, and not via free trade completely. And the thing that I look at the Golden State Warriors, right, in 2016, they weren't a super team until KD got there. So I don't care, right, that, like I said before, you could draft LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry in a draft class. No one understands their potential until they play with each other for a continuous amount of years. I'm not going to say that the 2016 Warriors were a super team, because when they all got together, no one ever said, oh, look at that, they're a super team. No one has said that until they got good. So I'm not going to say they're a super. They were a great team. They were an elite team. Don't get me wrong. Like the 96 Bulls, they weren't a super team either. They were an elite team. But the way they did it, the way they got there, is not the same thing as other great super teams like the Miami Heat, Brooklyn Nets, the Golden State Warriors in 2017. Like, all those teams were made differently when it comes to via draft. So that's what I want to say to that.
I mean, I think the 96 Bulls are a super team. You have one of the GOAT candidates. A super second option is Scottie Pippen. And then you have Dennis Rodman, the greatest rebounder of all time. That's a super team.
St. Louis. Okay, let me take this. So, Louis, if the 96 Bulls, right, the ones that three-peated with Rodman, Pippen, and Jordan team, does that make the 91, 92, and 93 Bulls a super team? The one with Horace Grant as their third
because
option?
Horace Grant sucks. Dennis Rodman doesn't.
Horace Grant sucks. Right here.
Everybody clip this. Key Lewis. If we're gonna say that Dennis Rodman was an elite rebounder, but did you know he was never an all-star in Chicago?
I know, his 2 all-star seasons were in Detroit.
Yeah. So although he was a great player, like Andre Iguodala for the Golden State Warriors, great
his
player.
production went down severely though. That's a whole different story.
But great player in 2015. And when they won the NBA Finals, he was great, right? And that's the same thing with Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman wasn't the same guy in Chicago. He was great. He was getting all the rebounds. But keep going, Z.
Louis, do you also understand that Dennis Rodman was brought in for one thing, and that was rebounding? He averaged in that
rebounds and defense.
He averaged 15 rebounds a game. You want to know who the second highest rebounder of the Bulls was that season? Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So that means a lot of things, right? Their second best rebounder wasn't even a big. It should have been Scottie Pippen, right? And with certain people's logic, they would think it was Scottie. No. So they brought in Rodman for one job. They said, we need you to rebound because we have absolute dog shit for rebounding. They had a bunch of old people. Bill Winnington. I don't know, some dude named Judd. He looks like his last name. He looks like a freaking beer company. I don't even know how to say his name. But they had terrible people. They had no one that could do anything. So my question to you is, and then another thing too, people look at some of the best super teams of all time, right? All-stars matter a lot to certain people in certain given situations. When you're Warriors, you have Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. That's a super team. Kevin Durant, Harden, Kyrie, that's a super team. And they're all-stars for a reason. Rodman wasn't an all-star for a lot of reasons. One, he was just – they kind of looked at him as like Yeah, he's just a rebounder for the squad. No other team wanted him in free agency because of, I don't know, he married himself. That should be a complete reason why no one wants to have him on his squad.
Dennis Rodman is what Andre Drummond wants to be. That's literally
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys the super teams I have in NBA history. Start off with the Showtime Lakers when Kareem got there. So Magic-worthy Kareem. Okay.
That's fair.
That's in my logic. So yes, I agree.
Mike, Scotty, Rodman. And then we got the 08 Celtics with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Heatles, Braun, Wade, Bosh. And then the Warriors without KD. The Warriors with KD. The Cavs. The Cavs are also a super team. Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James.
Yeah.
And then finally the Brooklyn Nets.
The worst super team of all time, but yeah, it does go with my logic. So like, NBA facts. You want to say anything about this?
I've got a question for you guys, if you don't care. Kind of taking us off just a little bit. So, are we saying the best non-super teams of all time with our logic? Are we saying that's going to be the 2016 Warriors and then the Bulls?
Yep.
And Shaq and Kobe.
Do you think we have any teams that are showing, like any young teams in the league right now that are showing early signs of what to be even close to what the Warriors were in 2015-16?
So we're going to do elimination process. The Phoenix Suns are never going to be a great team.
Nope.
Plus they have 3, so that wouldn't count.
Yeah. The Phoenix Suns are never going to be a great team. Let's see. Denver Nuggets, I like them. Let's see what happens. The Dallas Mavericks, I feel like they're literally one superstar away to being a dynasty. That's what I'm going to say. The Dallas Mavericks are one superstar away from being a dynasty. I never miss. That's a hot take. All right.
That's just facts, though.
What's another team? Let's look at the East. The Knicks are also there. I like the Knicks. They didn't draft
Julius though.
Yeah, true. But Julius wasn't considered a superstar until this year. This year. Yeah. So, and I don't think people even consider him a superstar yet. I think people consider him a high-level all-star as of right now. So I'm gonna go there.
All NBA guy.
Yeah, all NBA guy, definitely. And I know I'm missing a team. I think those are the teams that come right in my head. Wait, what about you guys? Z?
I liked the Knicks take. The Pelicans is coming to my mind. I said this in the last episode, I think, or the first episode, because you have essentially, and I said this, I was like, you get drafted to the Lakers, that's a curse. That's an absolute curse because you have so much expectation on your hand for a historic franchise. Besides the fact that you're playing with LeBron James, but so when Zoe and BI got traded away to New Orleans, I said that's great for them because it gives them an opportunity to be put in a place where there really isn't much expectation, but they can still develop on their own. Give them Zion Williamson, and then you look at him and you're like, well, that's kind of a big three. BI has always been a pretty consistent player. Zoe is a really good point guard, and Zion is Zion. So you give them one more piece. I don't know.
Hey,
that's the team that came to mind.
Yeah. What's up?
Okay, so you said they cannot be a super team if they were drafted together.
Say that again?
You said you can't be a super team if you're drafted with the other players, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Okay, so the Thunder, who have like 50 first rounders, if they manage to get Cade Cunningham, we're considering they drafted Shea because his rookie season he wasn't even that good.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Cade Cunningham, Shea, and then they're still bad next year.
Lou Dort,
Chet Holmgren. That's 3 top prospects. Is that not a super team?
No,
it's a dynasty in the making.
Plus, by the time they get Chet, Shea's only going to be like 25 years old or less.
Also, you gotta King Lewis. You also gotta look at it like this. When was the last time in NBA history that a team like OKC has so many picks? Many picks.
It's the first time it's happened.
So if this, first of all, I'm not gonna call them a super team, even if they become super elite basketball players, right? Because remember, they're just prospects, and we're projecting them to be great players in the NBA. But we're wrong with many players. I thought that Jabari Parker was going to be an elite basketball player once. Look at him now, unfortunately.
Did you miss?
Yeah, no, I didn't. What happened was that was before when I bashed basketball, so it doesn't count. It was before Never Miss. Anyways, but yeah, I thought Jabari Parker was going to be a great player. I thought Ben Simmons was going to be the second coming of LeBron James. I thought, all these stuff, right? All these projections, I'm not ready to talk OKC yet, but if it happens, I don't think it's a super team. If they all become superstars, no, I don't think so. Not at all.
Wow. What do you think about Harden, Russ, and KD back when they were together?
A dynasty in the making.
They were never a
dynasty.
Dynasty, not super team.
Not even
a dynasty. They weren't even a super. They weren't even considered a super team. James Harden wasn't even an all-star.
He was a sixth man. But I mean, if they let him stay and develop,
they would have been a dynasty.
A dynasty.
Yes.
Hey man,
San Antonio
I think
Spurs.
I'm out on this one.
San Antonio Spurs.
Okay, look at the San Antonio Spurs. Thank you. I was just about to say, Lewis. Look at the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay, that's not a super team. That's
Why
not? A super team.
Why?
Because Manu Ginobili. Because Manu Ginobili is the third best player.
He's a bucket.
He is.
It's Manu Ginobili. He's a Hall of Famer.
He came off the bench. He was a sixth man. He was an elite sixth man who had a couple All-Star appearances. He was really good, but that's not a super team. Also,
okay. So let me tell you. Do you know this? Do you know this? Did you know that with Oklahoma City, right? James Harden said that he didn't want to start. He said he wanted to come off the bench for the benefit of the team.
Okay. Same thing with
that's your guy.
Okay. I see what you're making. Okay.
No, look, Lewis. I understand. Like we're not. I don't feel like we're like all here ganging up on you. It's
no. You're right on this one. I mixed up there.
So this. I like the Rockets. The OKC Warriors. I almost called them Oklahoma City Thunder. But they weren't ever a super team. Never. They were a dynasty in the making. But anyways, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about I'm pretty sure the last subject we can talk about more basketball. I have no problem. But I want to talk to all the people that doubted the Lakers real quick. Yeah, a lot of people doubted the Lakers these last 2 weeks. It's been tough. Been tough at being a fan. But these last 2 games with Anthony Davis showing up, being not just Anthony Davis, the power forward. We're talking about the superstar, top 3 player in the NBA, Anthony Davis.
Zizi's blushing right now. He knows he doubted them.
Like Anthony Davis has came back to take the throne that people are trying to take away from the Lakers. And now let me say this. The Phoenix Suns are not taking down the Lakers. The Clippers are not taking down the Lakers. The Dallas Mavericks, unfortunately, are not taking down the Lakers.
And KP's healthy, though.
Not even KP. KP could be 100% healthy. I could give him Michael Jordan powers, and they're not going to give him. And they're still not going to beat the Lakers. Like, I love Dallas Mavericks. You already know how I feel about the Dallas Mavericks. I love them, but they're not beating the Lakers. I'm saying this again because people doubted the Lakers for the last 2 weeks, and it looked like it was a damn parade out there. It was the Lakers suck. Look at Anthony Davis now. We just beat the Phoenix Suns, a team that a lot of people were saying, "Oh, the Lakers want to dodge the Phoenix Suns." No, we don't. We want the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns are the easiest. Oh, yes, we do.
No, you don't. You want the Utah Jazz.
We want the Phoenix Suns.
You'd rather have the Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets, the Clippers. You'd rather have any team in the West over Phoenix.
The Clippers.
Phoenix is second best team in the West.
Homie, the Clippers are they're fake. That team is never gonna see a Western Conference Finals in their lives ever. That team is fake. It doesn't even. They should take that team out and put them in Seattle. That's how bad that team is. Okay, rebuild that team.
Doesn't like sharing Staples Center.
So look. The Lakers, I love them, obviously. But being unbiased as possible, there's no team in the Western Conference that are gonna eliminate the LA Lakers. I'm sorry, it's not happening at all. At
Light
all.
out, light out. I just want to tell you. Like, imagine this. I saw this. I saw somebody comment this on Instagram last night. They said, imagine the play-in tournament, right? Imagine Steph Curry. Right? He's going up. Him and Dre are going up against LeBron and Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond, all those boys. It would be kind of reminiscent of 2018, right? Steph doesn't have his best player, or 2015, I should say. Steph doesn't have his best player, Klay Thompson. Wouldn't it be poetic justice if the Lakers, beat the Warriors like that? It'd be hilarious if Steph Curry does what he did earlier this year and beat the healthy Lakers. This is one game, mind you, one game for the 7th seed. So the beneficiating thing about the play-in tournament is that you could lose. You got 2 chances to lose, basically. So imagine Steph Curry beats LeBron in that one game to get to the 7th seed. What do you understand how many Curry stands are going to be in the comments like Curry owns LeBum, Le Choke, Le gave us weed.
Hey,
all
I made a video yesterday.
It's going to be hilarious.
Let me answer that question. Okay. For any Curry fan watching this right now, for any Curry fan watching this in a TikTok clip that I'm gonna post, because I'm posting this right now. I'm gonna record this. I'm posting this. There's no chance in hell. There's no chance in hell that the Warriors are beating the Lakers.
If someone's going to do it, it's Steph Curry, though.
Yeah, no, I don't do it. Steph Curry, I think he's the best in the world, obviously, but he's not beating the Lakers. I'm sorry.
If anybody can do it, it's Steph. If anybody
the last two games, we played against the Golden Frauds, right? When we played against those two, okay, we combined with 81 points as a beatdown.
Yes.
81.
And Steph wasn't playing to play in the playoffs. That was just a regular season game.
Yeah.
Steph is not playing there to be in the playoffs. Wait, whoa. Pause. Flag. I just threw a flag on the field. Homie, what? Curry's not playing for the playoffs?
No. I said no. In that game, it wasn't a playoff game. It wasn't an elimination game.
Oh, but trust me, Steph Curry was trying his best.
Okay, but let me ask you this, y'all.
Okay, go ahead, Z.
Y'all beat the my bad NBA facts, but I just want to say this: the Lakers beat the Warriors without Anthony Davis, right? In both of those games. So when they had Anthony Davis, they had a 20-point lead, and third quarter Steph did his thing. This light-skinned nugget did his thing and brought his team back, and they won. And then Steph hit the game winner technically, or the dagger, whichever you want to call it, over Anthony Davis. Sized him up in isolation.
And the Warriors deserve that win. They deserve that win, but that's the only win they're getting over the Lakers this season.
You don't have a hint of nervousness. You don't have any type of anxiety.
You're so confident the Lakers are going to beat the Warriors. I think the Lakers should purposely lose to the Warriors. You don't want to go against.
I saw his video.
Alex, they're not risking losing one game to be the 8th seed.
You're definitely going to beat Memphis, so that's an easy game.
How do we know that?
You rest LeBron.
So you're not confident about beating Memphis, but you're confident about beating Steph Curry?
No. But like with that logic, why would we want to do that?
Because then you're facing Utah and then Denver or Dallas instead of facing the Clippers and Phoenix.
Well, they just beat Phoenix.
I'm gonna be honest with you. No, that's not a lucky game. That's not a lucky game at all. I've been saying that the Phoenix Suns are frauds all this season.
I agree.
Nope.
I made a video that I was legit sleeping on my bed thinking about the I'm sleeping hard on the Suns. That team is going nowhere this season. Nowhere. They face the Lakers. They face the Lakers. Just pack your bags. Don't even play the series. It's done.
Okay.
Don't do that. Right? But
I have the Lakers coming out the West. I've had them coming out the West since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the path to the finals. If you want LeBron fully healthy against KD, Kyrie, Harden, you want to be the 8th seed instead of the 7th seed.
No, I have no problem. We got. So first of all, the NBA started today. Phoenix Suns first round. Clippers, that they're frauds. Paul George has not shown up ever in the playoffs. Let's see if he does it this year, right?
Kawhi Leonard has.
Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi Leonard, he's a baller. I'm not gonna give him that.
In Indiana, before his last year in Indiana, every single year before that, he's been going head to head.
Yeah, my bad. You're right. Yeah. After Indiana, we have not seen Paul George in the playoffs. Pandemic P has been created. So I have no worries about the Clippers. I have no worries about the Phoenix Suns. Trust me, I have no worries on the Dallas Mavericks or the Denver Nuggets, whoever they come out. That's a 5-game series against either team. Easy. And Luka's gonna get 1 game on us. He's Luka Magic. But that's it. That's what's gonna happen. And we're gonna end up beating the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals.
I'm just gonna say, if the Warriors if they end up matching with the Lakers in the play-in tournament and beat the Lakers, then every Lakers fan, including Light Out Sports, they're gonna be on suicide watch, and I am going to I think I'm probably going to I am going to cry so hard, but not tears of sadness. I'm going to laugh so hard because it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious because Lakers fans are some of the most toxic fan bases probably in the NBA. And I'm just I'm not even
watching
talking
bad
about
things happen to Lakers.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just fun watching the Lakers just get beat. It's hilarious.
Look, I'm gonna predict the NBA Finals this year. It isn't gonna happen. So if you don't want to hear it, remember I never miss. Put your ears down. Don't listen.
I'm ready.
Are you ready? The NBA Finals this year is gonna be the LA Lakers versus the Milwaukee Bucks. That's gonna be the NBA Finals. I said it here. It's gonna happen, and when it does happen, we're gonna come back and be like, "Wow, this dude doesn't miss." That I said it.
And I'm gonna predict the playoffs right now. This is what I predict, right?
If you don't say the Lakers,
it's gonna be a Knicks tape.
Who you got? NBA facts. Who you got going this year
for the finals?
Yeah. And from right now, like you're seeing right now, all right, this team and this team are most likely to go.
I'm going Clippers Bucks. Clippers Bucks. I'm sorry.
Why are we sleeping on the Nets? What's going on?
The Nets. What is there about? Well, yeah, let's talk about Giannis and KD real quick.
Dude, Giannis, Drew, and Middleton, underrated trio.
Underrated, yeah. But I've been saying this all year. The Nets are not going to the finals. It's not like I'm sleeping on them. I mean, they're great.
You're
They're great.
You're going to pick the Bucks.
Yep.
Dude, the Bucks Nets games have been fantastic this season. And the Bucks have won the series.
Games in the playoffs. You put Giannis in the playoffs and he shits the bed every time. So I don't really.
You know what's the difference between this year?
I would say
keep going, Z.
And last year.
Like what? Oh,
you said you want to know what the difference.
Yeah, this year and last year is that this year the Giannis has shooters around him. He has shooters. Mm-hmm. And now that they're gonna put 6 of all 5 players in the paint. Guess what? That's a free 3 for the Milwaukee Bucks. It doesn't matter how you do it. So now,
yeah, but remember the Bucks games have been close. Where they've beaten the Nets. Mm-hmm. There's no James Harden, who you say is the best player.
No, but I still have Milwaukee going over.
I just don't think that Milwaukee's going to go over. I just think we're going to see – I think Giannis is still going to do his thing. Like, Giannis is probably going to average tremendous numbers, but you put him at the line at the end of the game, you might as well warm the bus up and go get some from the concession because everybody from Milwaukee is going back up. I'm sorry.
That's facts, actually. No, but I just made it.
Wait, King Lewis is trying to talk. King Lewis, I don't hear you, bro. Say something. I don't.
Are you muted?
Yeah, I think you're muted, bro. No, leave and come back.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, keep going.
I know. I'm saying the Bucks partly because that's who I want, but I really think they can do it. But right now, as the playoffs stand, their path to the finals, they have to beat the Miami Heat, and then in the second round they play the Nets, and then the Philadelphia 76ers, which is a crazy road for Giannis. especially with his platform.
What if Miami goes back to the finals?
Bro, I'm gonna be so happy because that's another championship for the LA Lakers. Like, dude, I can't wait. I want Miami to come out. Actually, that'll be so easy. That's a free one.
But if you're Giannis, you want the Hawks to fall below the Heat because you do not want to play Bam Adebayo and Jimmy in the first round.
Say that again, NBA Facts?
If you're Giannis right now, you want the Hawks to drop below the Heat because you do not want to play Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo.
I agree with that. No, I honestly, Miami, I love, first of all, I'm from Florida, so I'm just a little biased with both my Florida teams. Yeah, Miami can be surprised. I don't think they're going to beat the Bucks this year. I don't think they're going to beat the Nets this year. But what I am going to say, if they face Philly somehow this year in the playoffs, who knows what could happen? I'm just going to say, who knows what could happen? That's all I got to say, because Miami is not a team that you're going to beat in 4 games. You're not beating Miami. It doesn't matter what team you are. Nobody's beating Miami in 4 games.
Yeah,
not even the Nets.
Jimmy is not going to allow that.
No.
Not even LeBron.
Not even LeBron. not even Michael Jordan. Like, it's like no one. Like, it's. I was kidding. I just threw that diss just to be annoying. But anyways, Miami's a great team. I think Giannis is gonna come out the East, and Lakers are gonna come out the West. King Lewis, you want to say something?
Still
again, he is muted. Yeah, I don't hear you, bro.
Just give us some sign language.
Yeah, give me a sign language. Oh, he said Lakers. He said Lakers in 5. He said Lakers in 5. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Bro, he said Mavericks in 4. First round against the Nuggets.
Both of those picks are terrible.
Oh man! All right. Oh, okay. See, who's gonna win it all this year?
Who's gonna win it all this year?
Yeah.
Listen. Okay. This is the one thing that annoys me. Like, I know that you hate the Nets. You're a Lakers fan, and I know that you're a Mavericks fan. So you're having nightmares at night about Luka Magic and getting injections and all that stuff. So I understand it. But for me, I'm a Knicks fan, and I know one thing's for sure. The Nets are going to the finals. I'm sorry. It's just there's no way they're not going to the finals. If Harden comes back, there's no freaking way that
it's hard to bet against them right now.
Yeah, it's hard.
I can't against them. Like, I don't want to bet against the Lakers. I can't bet against the Lakers if they're healthy. I'm not betting against the Lakers.
I'm rooting for the Nets to go to the finals. I really am. Because I want to see the Nets with the Lakers because the Lakers can win in 5. Like that.
Nets Lakers would have some of the most talent we've ever seen on a basketball court.
Honestly,
it's gonna be 5-game series. Lakers.
It'd be a freaking all-star game in the finals.
Yeah,
an all-star game, and Kevin Durant's gonna choke. James Harden. Bro, Kevin Durant's gonna choke. Kyrie's not gonna know what to do because his dad is playing against him. And I mean, it's just a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff are going against the Brooklyn Nets. I don't believe on the Brooklyn Nets at all.
I have a feeling that wait, is he back?
Yo, we hear you now. And the birds.
Yeah, I'm back.
Let's go, baby.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I feel like the West, it's pretty clear cut. We know the Lakers are coming out. As much as we like to speculate, it's gonna be out.
Yeah.
The East, though,
I'm
kind of doubting Brooklyn. I'm doubting Brooklyn right now. The lack of defense, the lack of James Harden, the Bucks can take him down. And Giannis is bound for a good playoff run.
Yeah, no, I honestly, and like I said, if the Nets do make the playoffs, make the finals. My bad. They make the finals and they do face the Lakers. I don't care. Lakers in 5. Lakers in 6.
If the Lakers lose, I can just hear like 5 excuses right now. They're not healthy. LeBron's 36. They're a super team. Like, those are just 3 right there. But if the Lakers win, LeBron's the greatest player of all time. He beat that team.
Yep.
That's what's gonna happen.
If LeBron beats the big 3 Nets fully healthy, he's the GOAT.
If LeBron beats that Nets team, I'm not even looking at the fact that he beat the Nets team. I'm looking at the fact that he got his team to the finals in the playoffs with the injuries and everything. That's the greatest playoff run I think I've ever seen right there.
Yeah.
And this is
especially with a stacked West right now.
Yeah.
He's the clear-cut GOAT if that happens.
Yeah. And
2019 Kawhi's better.
Stop it. No, but like, there's so much going against the Lakers right. there's so much going on against the Lakers right now. Injuries. We don't know if LeBron's gonna come back 100%. Schroeder just got something with COVID-19. Get better. And yeah, so much going on with the Lakers. I mean, the players look unhappy. Schroeder didn't want to sign an extension. I mean,
Andre Drummond keeps forgetting how to play basketball.
Andre Drummond literally had a game. Andre Drummond had a game of 4 points and 0 rebounds, and he's the best rebounder in the game.
Kuzma's still on the roster.
Kuzma's still on the roster.
Kuzma's too focused on his blonde hair right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, literally, he's on his like 2011 Chris Breezy type haircuts. I don't know what is wrong with him, dude. I really
He's
don't
the
understand.
NBA Pete Davidson.
Yeah,
Davidson.
That is facts. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, that's why you're called the NBA facts. So I see. All right, guys. Well, this was a good stream. I had a lot of fun with you guys. This was obviously a more fun stream than we had in a while. Our last two were kind of very serious. I feel like we had a lot of fun here. So thank you for the NBA facts and King Lewis. NBA facts. Where can we find you?
TikTok.
TikTok at the NBA fact. Yeah. And King Lewis, where can we find you?
Yeah, TikTok, Instagram.
Let's go. This was the
Next
Setback
podcast.
podcast. Yeah.
Next podcast.
Ooh. Oh wait, no, the following podcast. Because on Thursday we got a podcast.
Well, next Monday's
Yeah.
podcast.
Next Monday's podcast, guys. I'm just gonna announce it here. Boom, the Sport God versus ZZ Huncho. Michael
Hey,
Jordan.
if you don't tune in, you're missing out.
You're
missing out.
have to watch it. I am so excited. That is gonna be a legendary battle. I'm gonna be trolling, and so I can't wait. So yeah. All right, guys. Make sure to follow my boys, the Step Back Podcast on YouTube. Thank you for watching the stream.